Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I was getting caught up on my honeydew list for the honey milk ranch. Even though there's no honey here, there kind of is. So stuff always needs to get done, right? Today I was messing with the rain gutters in the morning, just before the show, and checking my watch over and over again to make sure I wasn't late today. But got a lot done. I have not seen turtles lately, so I don't know what's going on with the turtles, which is kind of weird because I had a dream last night that someone had asked me for the turtle. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with our turtle and where he might be. But anyway, I'll keep on the lookout for him, Titus the turtle and Titus Zilla. But I'm glad you guys are back, and let's get into today's show. Now, I can't believe that it took me this long to hear about the TV series that we're going to start to decode next. This is The Blacklist. And I heard about it from my friend Mike, the guy I go shooting with. Oh, by the way, we yesterday went over to Mike's and shot his I don't know if we can even say the name of it. It's an A to the R to the 10. And I was accurate up to 105 yards. I was able to shoot a small target about the size of, I don't know, it was tiny. Anyway, I hit it 5 times in a row. I think Mike was pretty impressed. But I'm a scope guy. I got to have the scope. If I don't have the scope, I'm really lame at line sights. But scopes, I do pretty well. So that was fun. And that thing kicked almost as much as my shotguns. And it was just as loud. So always wear ear protection. We're now practicing. Anyway, let's get into this Blacklist episode. And basically, I'm going to cover the first 2 episodes so far. That's what I've watched over the weekend. The first episode of this series came out on, are you ready for this? 9/23/2013. So the 2 episodes we're going to cover today are from 2013, and this was the debut episode. Of course, 9/23 is the date of infamy that mysteriously keeps appearing in all these movies across different genres, different types of movies, sometimes a comedy, sometimes a science fiction. 9/23, which is 3/29 backwards, which just so happens to be my birthday and the 88th day of the year. Now, what happens in this first episode? Well, the first episode discloses the COVID pandemic, the 99 red balloons, Operation Cherry Blossom, the plague, all mentioned by name in this episode. Now, there are 10 seasons, so it's going to take us a while to get through this. So the game plan is that this show is so packed, I'm going to go through every single episode. And basically, we're going to probably interdisperse the decodes with between the headlines and also the Honey Milk Ranch. Now, I'm really looking at getting a guest on. He's a pretty private person. Ran into him the other day. I won't say how. But let's just say he showed me a real picture that he found here in Arkansas on Bull Shoals Reservoir with 6 fingers and 6 toes. I think it was actually toes. I couldn't believe it. And we had a discussion about this. Another supernatural discussion. The supernatural discussion revolved around pretty much most of what we've discovered on this channel. All of us together. And he already was in the know about all these things. He said, this is the Ark. I said, where did you hear that from? And he said, we all just know it is. So, this guy's a reputable guy. He's, I'll just leave it at that. He's got an entire history. He has a lot of relics and artifacts that he showed to me. That's pretty much all I can say at this point. Well, I'm hoping to get him on. Like I said, he's a very private person, but if we can leave him anonymous, then we can probably get at least a voice interview with him. There's a lot of strange stuff out here in Arkansas, so I can't wait to dig into some of this stuff. Heck, you can even stumble upon things out here because there's so many little nooks and crannies and caves and places to hide. You can believe that not all of it has been discovered yet. So it's kind of the new frontier of discoveries. Now, what else is going on? Well, let's get started on Blacklist. Now, let me give you the plot of this. It stars a familiar actor named James Spader. Many of you recognize this individual, James Spader. And I think he was, what did he do? Didn't he play in like movies of the 80s and 90s? Well, now he got into this series and he does a really good job. He actually plays a criminal mastermind. And what he does is he approaches the American Secret Intelligence Agency, CIA, FBI, and his plan is to go after other mastermind criminals that have different skill sets. Now, it remains to be seen why James Spader wants to go after these criminals. They don't really tell us. But basically, he has this list called the Blacklist. And now the FBI and CIA, they really want to basically take this guy out. They want to just arrest him, but he has such valuable intel. They use him essentially as some kind of like an agent, a double agent almost. Now, this is crazy because you're going to hear them next mention cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms was a code name of airplanes used to spread plague over Southern California. The plan was finalized on March 26, 1945, and it was all about the Japanese sending plague over the jet stream on balloons. Now, there's many disclosures in this series so far in just the first 2 episodes of events that had not happened yet in our timeline. You're going to see next, of course, the pandemic and the Nexium cult, in which a woman is branded with a brand that looks similar to the Nexium cult, even though it had not even been disclosed yet in our timeline in 2013. So, let's go back in time to 2013 and take a look at the first 2 episodes of Blacklist.
It's a shame you're going to miss the cherry blossoms.
I think a great many people will miss the cherry blossoms.
That guy, I believe, was either Serbian or Ukrainian, and he's talking about missing the cherry blossoms as he's standing in front of, I believe that's the Washington Monument, and it looks like it has some kind of scaffolding around it. They must have been working on it. Who knows what they were up to in 2012 or 2013. If anybody knows what they were working on the Washington Monument with the scaffolding on it, that would be helpful in this decode. But as they're sitting watching, they talk about the cherry blossoms. Now, we had discovered what Operation Cherry Blossom was about 7 years ago on this channel. Now, of course, the Japanese operation was put into effect. There were several balloons that actually made it across the jet stream. No one can confirm if plague was actually brought to America, but several of the balloons made it over. They flew over Seattle and actually exploded on land. There were a few confirmed deaths of explosions. And as we were looking into Operation Cherry Blossom, we also discovered Operation Sea Spray just before the COVID pandemic. And Operation Sea Spray was almost the same thing, except this time it was our own government dropping a pink pathogen called, let me see if I can remember it, Marcusins, Serratia marcescens, that's what it was. A pink pathogen. They were dropping it over San Francisco to see if its effects would be widespread. Several people got sick and a few died. Many of you will remember that. All this was before the pandemic that we were talking about this stuff. You can look back on this channel right now and the videos are still there. You can also see another decode that we did before the pandemic, the Metallica music video from the song All Nightmare Long, where the pathogen zombie balloon scenario is animated in the music video. So they got more specific that time, didn't they? Showing the effects of the plague that was dropped from balloons in that music video. Then 2017 rolled around and we called out the NASA bacteria balloons that were also floating on the jet stream along the eclipse path. All of this was before the pandemic. So God was warning us, wasn't he? Now, not many listened other than the people on this channel, but obviously that was foreshadowing of events that had not come yet. We then made the connection to Nina's return to America. Remember Nina, 99 red balloons? Which we have now come to realize was symbolic. It was a ritual, her returning to America to do, I think it was her first tour. And we had come to realize that her coming to America with the 99 red balloons means plague and viral pathogen multiplying out of control. So you can imagine my horror finding our research. And when I say our, I'm talking about all the people on this channel who helped to discover all this stuff with the guidance of the Holy Spirit. You can imagine my horror when I watched the very first episode, the 923 episode of this series, and they mentioned what you just heard, Operation or Cherry Blossoms. They didn't say Operation Cherry Blossoms. Now it gets more specific in this episode. As you saw, this guy, as he's saying this, has a disease on his neck, and he is talking about bringing the disease to America. You're going to hear that next, because it's not just that he said Operation Cherry Blossom. You have to look at the totality of the scene. Okay? So, he's got a disease, and he's talking about cherry blossoms. That's confirmed connection, not a stretch.
The cherry blossoms.
I think a great many people will miss the cherry blossoms. In 60 years, they will be talking about this day, about my legacy. Raymond, today, on this day, I am giving their plague back to them.
I'm giving their plague back to them with the disease on his neck. And his whole... that guy, this guy, let's rewind a little bit. This guy right here, he's the criminal mastermind who would steal children to get back at someone who sent the plague to his country. Someone sent from the United States sent the plague to his country. So he's getting back by bringing the plague back to America. Now, I can't remember the specifics of this first episode, what nationality this guy is. I want to say Ukrainian, but he could be Serbian. So as you can see, this first episode is loaded. Now, they get even more specific in the episode. Let me check in with you guys, make sure you're here. We'll keep going with this. Because next, we're going to see balloons. And they're trying to close in on this guy. Trying to capture him. And we see balloons. So another definitive connection. Of course, the 99 red balloons. Let's keep watching here.
Plague back to them.
Tell me about the scar on your palm.
So, the criminal mastermind, this guy, his name is Reddington. And this is James Spader. And he says to the FBI and the CIA, I will only speak to this one woman. Now, it remains to be seen what his connection is to her and why he said he has to speak to her and her only. My suspicion is that it's his daughter. And he has not revealed that. And I'm already on episode 5 already. He has not revealed that yet. But that's probably what it's about to be about. Her entire life is a lie. She finds out that her husband is even an agent, but she has not disclosed that to her husband yet. She's trying to feel it out to see what's really going on with that. And James Spader, Reddington, asks her what that mark is on her right hand.
Tell me about the scar on your palm.
There was a fire. I was 14. Not exactly, no.
They shall receive a mark on their right hand. To say this isn't connected to the pandemic and everything that we just showed you in this first episode, that's the stretch to say it's not connected. Now let's keep watching here, because they implant Reddington with multiple chips. Watch.
This is Stone. Call lab services. Have them fit him with an alpha chip RFID tag. Assemble a full intel review. NSA, CIA.
A DARPA-tested, fully encrypted 8mm tag. I don't even know what that is.
So he has multiple chips put in him. First they put a substandard chip in him, and then he asked for a special request of this chip that you just heard her say, implanted into his neck, which almost looks as if it's planted into the vagus nerve. I think that's the location of the vagus nerve. Wow. They even mention Ukraine chemical weapons. This was 2013, you guys.
It's a tracking device.
And what's this about his...
That's the price of doing business, Harold. With certain people who can get certain things done. You know that.
Who is the Ukrainian?
I'm not going to tell you.
You gave him a chemical weapon.
He took it.
Son, I got 99 problems.
Lizzie.
If you haven't got problems, I feel bad for your son. I got 99 problems.
There you heard a song, 99 Problems, the 99 Red Balloon Confirmation, The Coming Plague. This was the first episode.
Lizzie.
If you haven't got problems, I feel bad for your son. I got 99 problems.
60 people are dead because of you.
Now, let's get into the second episode, because the second episode discloses the recent rash of train derailments that we just all went through, and the Nexium cult before the branding of its members was ever disclosed to the public. This is unbelievable. Now, listen closely, because this is the train derailment. Back this up a little bit.
Bad for your son. I got 99 problems.
60 people are dead because of you.
60 people are dead because you don't return my calls, Harold.
60 people have been confirmed dead and dozens injured after a passenger train derailed this morning at the Decatur Industrial Park.
Did you catch that? Let's see who caught it. All right, let's let this chat catch up. Did you guys hear what they just said? What did they just say? Good morning. Always hit you guys hard on Monday, huh? I couldn't believe it. I almost went live on Sunday, but I had a lot to do. But I was feverishly collecting these clips and putting together my show notes and preparing. So it's pretty late on Sunday by the time I got it all done. All right, did you guys hear that? Think numbers. What were the numbers that they just said? Yes, Rebecca, you're close. Let me play it again, because it's in your face. It's pretty simple. Just think simply on this one. Listen very closely here.
I got 99 problems.
60 people are dead because of you.
60 people are dead because you don't return my calls, Harold.
60 people have been confirmed dead and dozens...
Okay, did you hear it that time? There you go. Tonette got it. What is that when you remove the zeros? Good job, Tanette. They said it 3 times, didn't they? Because remember, in their numerology, they always remove the zeros. I know it's early, guys. There you go. Christy Belly got it. 666. That's exactly what they said. 60, 60, 60 is 666. Now, why would they hide something like that in plain sight? Because these people are evil. And they know what this is about. And that coincides with the mark on her right hand, doesn't it? Absolutely it does. Let's keep watching here. Because next you're going to hear Reddington explain, just as a lot of truth channels do, that these mass casualty events are not accidents.
Injured after a passenger train derailed this morning at the Decatur Industrial Park.
The train accident was no accident, you know that, but he's responsible for a slew of other premeditated killings, just like this one.
Hidden between the facts and figures, the victims and heroes, there's always a murder.
These are the events we've come to expect on the evening news.
But in truth, there's always more to the story.
My name is Anya Kedrov.
So, basically, he said that these mass casualty events are not accidents. And we all know that. Usually it's collateral damage for something else, someone else they want to kill. And he talks about that. He says, if you look closely at the victims, you will find several victims on that particular train or on that particular plane of significance. 2013, you guys, they were already disclosing all this stuff. So, next, Reddington wants to go after a trafficking ring connected to the train derailment. So, he exposes a woman who claims to be going after trafficking, but is actually, she's the head trafficker herself. She was actually thinning out the competition. And that's exactly what the people who traffic the most do. It's the perfect cover. You claim you're going after trafficking, but really you're just thinning the herd so that your trafficking operation can prosper. So they hold a charity event for trafficked women, and the woman that you're going to see next reveals her brand on her right shoulder after she reveals another 99 disclosure.
My name is Anya Kedrov. I've been asked to say a few words. I spent 3 years of my life in a 9x9 room.
I spent 3 years of my life in a 9x9 room. Another 99 confirmation. And look at this symbol.
The people who took...
This lady, by the way, is the head trafficker. Even though she's at a charity event against trafficking, she's actually the head trafficker. Now, a lot of people were burnt out during the Trump presidency. Like, he's going after the trafficking. Okay. Let's do a little critical thinking here, all right? And then I'll leave this alone, but it needs to be said. During many of the Trump years, long before his presidency, he was working with modeling agencies. He had his own modeling agency. Who were the women that were in the modeling agencies? They were Ukrainian and Russian women. Hello? He was hanging out with Eggstain, who was also doing the same thing with Russian and Ukrainian women. Come on, you guys. We gotta snap out of it. They both flew on each other's plane at least once. That's been confirmed. That we know of. And Trump sent Ivanka, when she was a little girl, she was like 12 years old, to go to the modeling agency of John Casablancas, which is a known kitty diddler. Let's keep watching this.
me, the Eberhard cartel, they brand their servants by carving their symbol into the flesh of our back.
So there's the symbol. It's not even, I mean, to me, they're similar. Okay, they're similar. Let's look at this. They're not exact by any stretch of the imagination, but they are similar. The point is they're branded on the skin. This is the NXIVM cult brand. There's the brand from the TV episode of The Blacklist. Now remember, this wasn't a thing back then in 2013. Nobody knew about this. Where did they know it from? Because they all know what's going on. Now, when was the NXIVM branding thing exposed? It was about 2 to 5 years after this episode aired. It was like 2015 to 2017 is when the details of this branding came out. As you can see here on the Wikipedia page, the details, and it's...
You never liked me.
It started in 2015. Secret Society of Women, that started in 2015. So this actually started, well, so they say, 2 years after the episode aired is when they say the cult started, but it probably had already been in the works. And then the women that came forward said they were branded with his initials. Ooh, they were initials. Let's look back at this branding, see if we could see any initials in there. Okay, we're on to something here. Oh boy. Let's get to these. Okay. What? Do you see any initials in here? Not really. I think I see a D. It almost looks like 2 Ds, maybe? I don't know. Hard to tell because of the resolution. But if the NXIVM branding was initials, maybe these are initials too. Right? Almost looks like a music note, doesn't it? It looks like a curved music note. Anyway. So, weird times, you guys. Now, episode 2 ends with the mastermind and FBI agent sitting underneath the United Nations building. And of course, they're the largest traffickers in the world, under the cover of government, under the cover of aid, under the cover of everything that the UN says they stand for. They're able to secretly...
You never liked me.
Secretly and silently move things around, aren't they?
Because you're a wanted man living in the shadows, and I am not. Why are you doing this, Raymond? I offered to make you a partner. My people came to you about the shipping routes. I run my business, and I'm being wined and dined by the city's elite.
How does a devil in you contend with the angel? I would have kicked her out years ago. I don't know how you do it. The duplicity.
You can learn a thing or two from me, Raymond. And then go down to docks and pick up my next shipment of girls.
Hey, what's the headline gonna read?
Italian dog born with 2 heads. I think the assassin may have slipped her a lethal cocktail of the same barbiturates she uses to drug her children.
What are you saying?
She's not the woman you think she is. Floriana Campo is the largest distributor of enslaved children in the Eastern Hemisphere.
This will help you breathe.
Madame Campo doesn't free children from slavery, she imprisons them.
I don't believe you.
Don't be so naive. Her foundation is a front to launder the profits of the Eberhard cartel, which she runs. She's been eliminating the competition.
There's a UN building in the background. Now remember, this UN building is surrounded, literally surrounded, by Novartis, Bristol Myers Squibb, and Pfizer headquarters buildings. Directly behind it, and to the right of this, is Trump World Tower. Can't make this up, you guys. So, again, I'll try to get through the 10 seasons. We're not going to rush it because these are way too packed of episodes. So I'll probably be giving you a little bit each day or a little bit every other day. We'll mix that up with Between the Headlines and the Honey Milk Ranch. Tomorrow's show will be one of the strangest headline show I think I'll ever cover. Something really strange is happening. Something very strange is happening with some of these headlines. I don't want to give it away because every time we announce what we're going to do, other channels run and try to cover it first, because I think some channels are actually watching this one to get their breaking news and their stories, and that's fine because the word's getting out. But I just want to keep this one close to the vest until tomorrow, because something crazy has happened. They busted up something really huge, and I'm going to show it to you tomorrow. Now, the stroke phenomenon is still going on. My best friend's mother had a stroke day before yesterday. Now, she was old, but a lot of other people are having strokes as well. So, what we're going to cover tomorrow actually corroborates literally everything that channels like ours have been trying to warn people about, confirming what they used to call conspiracy theory, and now they've actually found something at a very prominent school. So we'll check that out. Okay, let's go into the chat here and see what you guys are up to. Now, I don't know what's causing this stroke phenomenon. I mean, we all know what's really causing it, but it seems to coincide with heat or the sun. Something about the heat and dehydration is kicking this thing off. So it remains to be seen. Have any of you known anyone in the last couple days or over the weekend who's had another stroke? Because we need to start comparing notes here. Oh, what do I spray on myself to deter ticks? I spray on lavender water, and I get mine on Amazon for like $9, I think. It's kind of expensive, but the one bottle that I've got, you don't have to spray very much, because it's what it is. It's the oil in the lavender water that the ticks don't like. To them, it smells like lavender plants, and they don't like lavender plants. So if they get on you, they'll usually jump right off. Now, I had, when we went shooting yesterday, a couple ticks got on me, but they didn't bite me, so I just flicked them off. But I need to remember to wear proper attire when I go over to Mike's house, because almost every time we go shooting when I go over there. So I need to wear the proper attire instead of just wearing flip-flops everywhere, because he's like, hey, let's go shoot the gun. I'm like, right on, brother. Hop in the truck or the side-by-side and go out to the corner of the property. So, strange days. Yeah, any kind of essential oil will work. Thanks, Liam. Yes, absolutely. Tea tree oil will work. If you like peppermint, any kind of strong odor, you just wipe it on your legs and your forearms, and as soon as they get on you, they'll jump off. I would also wipe it around like your belt line. I don't like that either, because that's usually where they try to hide. And, in your cracks and crevices, let's put it that way. So, but if it's peppermint, don't wipe it on there, because that could sting. So, yeah, because that's where they like to go and hide. Okay, that's where you're not going to see them. They make it up your leg. Now, I usually know when they're crawling on me, but a lot of people don't feel them. So, but I feel them. I feel like a little creepy crawly thing. And I just go immediately look and I flick it off. So, yeah, the neem oil is great. But to me, the neem oil it just smells weird. I have a bottle of neem oil and I use it. I put it in a spray bottle, a little bit of soap and water. I spray it on the plants to stop the critters from eating the leaves on the plants. But it gets on your hands, and the neem oil just doesn't smell good to me. Even though it's probably effective, but you're better off using like essential oils of smells that you do like, that they don't like, you see. Yeah, lavender just smells better. So, okay. Use 20 drops of peppered oil in a spray bottle of water, sprayed around my house. Good for bugs and mice and snakes. Thanks, Jennifer. Oh, and thank you guys for all the wonderful birthday wishes for Max and all of the Father's Day wishes. And to all those fathers out there, bless you, bless you, bless you. And if you didn't know, Max is coming back. He'll be here on the 3rd of July. I can't wait to show him our new home. And he's excited. Things didn't work out in California. Kind of got catfished, I think, to a certain degree with the gal he was really working hard to bring to America. He's going to be so mad at me for putting all his business out there. But look, we all go through this, right? I've been through it. And so I'll just be glad to have him home. And you know what? He'll get to see this lifestyle that we have out here. And I think it's going to be great. And this is probably what he needs as a man, as a young man. I can tell you, being a man out here is awesome. It's all the stuff that we didn't learn as men, and in different situations that we've grown up in. I didn't learn all this stuff. My father, he was. I loved my dad, but he didn't show me anything. I mean, he did buy me a gun one time, a long time ago. He tried, but my dad had mental issues, so he just did the best he could, right? But to grow up in this lifestyle and learn how to be a man and what is required of what a man is supposed to do, and seeing other men doing it is what we're supposed to be doing. And this is what I was never able to give Max before, because I didn't know how to build stairs or, hunt or, run a homestead. Like, this is the true value of what a man was supposed to do in the Bible. Think about it. Jesus was a carpenter. Noah was a carpenter of sorts, building the ark. And they don't teach us any of that. So where do men find their value? But your value as a man isn't how much money you make. But guess what? That's what I was told. I was told I was supposed to make a bunch of money and then give it away to my wife. That's what I was told I was supposed to do. Right? But that's not the true value of a man. A man is supposed to know how to build stuff and fix things. And that's the value that a woman should see in him, because when times get tough and there is no money system or there's no jobs, you're going to wish you had a man like that, who could change a tire, who could run a homestead, who can make sure all the gutters are cleaned so that water doesn't come into your house. Make sure you have a place to live that's debt-free, that he built himself. Those are going to be the most valuable men in the end times, not the guy making $150,000 a year who you think is valuable. Because money comes and money goes. We've all been there, you guys. We've all been there. And so I'm happy to be able to show this to Max. I've got some ideas about how he can make some money. I think I'll help him start a lawn mowing business. I have this riding lawnmower, and maybe Max doesn't mind working hard, but he likes to be paid for it. He doesn't want to make $15 an hour, breaking his back, coming home worn out at the end of the day, and he only made, $80. He wants to, go out for 2-3 hours and, make a couple $100. And he should be able to do that. But he's got to learn some skills. I think the first where he could start is maybe taking this riding mower, stick it on a trailer, and go run around and mow people's lawns. He can mow an acre, maybe charge a couple $100 an acre. I don't know what the going rate is. Get it done in a couple hours, come home, and he will have gotten some sun and exercise. And so I'm hoping that something like that he'll get into out here. There's plenty of opportunity. A lot of retired folks out here who can't run their own homesteads, who need a little bit of help. So that could be what Max does. And, we can say what we want about Facebook, and I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but I can tell you this. I would not have been connected with some of the people that I got connected with if I didn't have Facebook. So I went into the marketplace, and I get things from there. I also go onto the groups. We have a group here, and the group, you can request things. So a lot of the people that I found to help me work on my place, I found in the Facebook group for Mountain Home. And then you just go in there and you just say, hey, does anyone do this? Does anyone do that? Boom. And you can actually see their profile, so you can see if they're a weirdo or not. And they show up and they do the work and you pay them. And if it wasn't for the Facebook groups, you wouldn't be able to get connected like that. Now, do I wish things were the way they used to be, word of mouth or, Craigslist? Yes, I do wish that things were like that still, but they're not. So there are certain things that you can use Facebook for, and there's certain things you can't or shouldn't, right? So that's where things sit. Let's see. Let's go into the chat. Great question. Thank you for that. I don't know how we got off on that tangent. But landscaping has massive income potential, says J.K. Bell. Making your own money, says Nature Nurture. J.K. Bell's brother built a big landscaping business in Oklahoma. You would think that everybody with a mower would start a business, but apparently not a lot of people want to do that or realize that you could do that, or maybe they don't know how to market, right? So, all right. Yeah, it's good to use it that way. Yeah, exactly. But I'm not into like you said, a lot of people just post, selfies of themselves all the time and all that, and the whole, let's post every time we go out to eat and post, that I don't agree with, because that's just way too much information, and it becomes a popularity contest, people going on trips and everything, and then you actually look at their life and they're broke, and it's all just a show. That part of Facebook I do not like. And of course, who runs Facebook? But it is a tool. It's the same thing we're on here, right? Some people say, well, why do we use YouTube? Well, it's a tool. We know YouTube's evil, but we use it as a tool to reach people, right? Yes, GR Cleve. Vanity. Yes. A lot of folks still out of power around our area. Oh, wow. Didn't know there were power outages and stuff. Okay. All right. Yeah, poor Michael Morales. It's really sad to hear what happened to him. My email's on the front of my page here. Uh-oh. Zuckerberg deleted my account. Fake book. Yeah. All right, you guys. I'll let you guys get to the rest of your day. Tomorrow will be a headline show that you will never forget. Let me give you a sneak peek. I just can't help it. Unbelievable. Watch as soon as I post this. Look at this. Harvard morgue manager charged with trafficking human remains. So we'll cover that and many other weird stories tomorrow. I love each and every one of you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Take care and be safe.